Good news, the video that I made about the $22,000 in HOA fees, like 3 videos back. So I give you guys a news update. These people actually recalled the HOA, and with that, they are now trying to get it more budget friendly, so they do not need to pay the $22,000 maybe, depending on the budget. So what does that tell you as an investor perspective? Well, if an HOA or something gets recalled, right, or the president and the board and all that, what happens is that for most places as an investor, you wanna invest into a place that has growth potential, right, and that has foreseeable growth in the future, and the policies to actually support that, right? So I got comments like, hey, so where would you invest? So where I would invest is into states that have a net positive migration, right? And when you look at some charts, these are some states that have net positive migration, right? Because then you're more likely to fill your rental units, you fill your units up, rather than a state that doesn't, right? But it can also be dependent on location, right? So you want to be in an area that is pretty high density with people, so you can actually get your house listed rather than in a place that doesn't have it. So I just saw another YouTube video that said that property taxes north and south, I think it was like Michigan or something, there's such a huge difference in that one of them, they're paying property taxes like $6,000 and it jumped to like $14,000 because the properties are just vacant and the city needs the money to actually get the schools funding going. And so with school funding, they need to increase property taxes because that's where the majority of the money comes from. So when you're an investor or you want to buy into real estate, you need to be really cautious and aware where you invest. You want to invest into a state that allows you to invest where property taxes are capped or something like it, with a net positive migration with growth potential, right? So there's all these keys that you need to be looking out for before you actually pull the trigger on investing a lot of money into it. And I'm not talking about buying a $60,000 house and putting like $4,000 down and doing that, because that's not, that's peanuts, right? $4,000 to buy a house, and then, the $6,000 carry cost, if you can actually afford the down payment and whatnot, shouldn't be too much of an issue if you have the tenants pay for it. But what can become an issue is if you spend $60,000, $100,000+ on an investment property and you can't make the payments because you can't find a tenant. And then the domino effect starts really, really kicking in, because you gotta pay, to keep the mortgage going and do all that. And with this current recession that we're in, it's really, really hard to make all these things happen, right? To get a new tenant. If you need something done, it's way overpriced, right? And so you got to be really, really cautious. But I think you can get a really, really good deal if you just wait out a little bit, or you just find the right property, because deals can be had. So you got to be super aware of it. And make sure if you invest into it, if you buy like in a place in Florida, as I said at the beginning with that condo association, you got to make sure that the HOAs and all that has enough funding. So you're not going to be holding the bag from somebody trying to get out of it, and you're then going to pick up that bag, because I don't want you to be holding the bag for somebody else that just bailed. So you got to always do your due diligence and say, hey, why did that person leave? What happened? And it's crazy to see how all that kind of, that migration works, because people leave expensive states and go into cheaper ones, or they move where jobs are. So what I look for is, when I buy properties, I try to buy it in my local area in Las Vegas, because I think for myself, it's good to see it. Because if something wrong, I noticed, it's very hard to find people that will not trick you when you're not there. So you need to have either local people that you can invest in, and then say, hey, can you check out my properties? Because it's easy for them to say, oh, the water heater's out, or this is bad, or this something else, and they upcharge you because you're not there and it's a friend of theirs or something else. So nobody is more cautious about your money than you are, right? Because people nowadays they're hurting. Most people do not have the cash. And so when it comes to their finances, you're going to be the one paying for all the repairs that your rental property has. And you do not want to make no profit for a year or two because the management company's not on your side. And I had that happen with my Airbnb in Vegas, where the property management company was taking money from me with bogus fees, with small little charges, and they were basically robbing the property dry, even though it was making good money. So you got to be very, very cautious of all these fees and, vet the property management company. And if you can do it yourself, it's always best, because then you find ways to talk to the tenants, do the right thing, and you actually get to know who you're renting to. And I feel like if you tell them, or you don't even have to tell them that you're the owner, you can just say, hey, I'm the manager for the owner, and you're actually the owner, and you say, hey, the owner's really mad, but you're actually the manager. Or you can actually just blame it on your wife or your spouse or your hubby and say, hey, I'm just the manager, my partner owns it, and they're not liking it. So you got to be super aware of all that. And I feel like in downturns, in recessions, there's great deals to be had, but there's also way, way, way more shady shit going on. So you got to be super aware. So buying a rental property during a recession can be the best thing ever if you can find a deal, or it can be a nightmare because there's just things that you just don't see, and somebody's just trying to get out of it and do something, and then it's a nightmare down the road because they can tell you, oh, the tenant's up to payments and all that, and then they're not, and they lied, and yeah, you can sue them. But one thing I learned, and I hope you'll take away from this video, and if you take this thing away from this video, you learn a lot. Getting a legal judgment against somebody isn't the hard part. It's actually collecting it. So when you look at the Lodi school, the skydiving school, they got a $40 million judgment against them. And they've actually interviewed him and said, are you going to pay that judgment because, one of your skydivers one of your skydive instructor faked a certificate and they killed somebody. So are you going to actually reimburse the family and actually help them, pay the $40 million? And this guy said, no, I don't have the money. I'm not going to pay. I can't pay. So what do you want me to do? Just shut down the school? So getting a judgment is easy. It's just hard to collect. So if this is the one thing from this video, I really hope that you take that away. And yeah, that's basically how you invest into real estate. You can start small. You can I always say, if you can invest with a partner, with another investor, or with a friend of yours, or a business partner, set up an LLC and you split it 50-50, you cut the risk in half. But you also have to talk to somebody else about what you want to do. And what's great is that you can go in and you can have 51% and he can have 49%. Then you split the risk, but you're still the shot caller. So it is really, really good to find somebody that you can invest with, but that you can still have the majority share and actually know what you're doing to start off. But to start off, you might also want to take the smaller percentage because you don't know what you're doing too much, and so you rather just see him do it. And after one or two deals, or them, whatever, after like a little while, you can then say, hey, I want to take a bigger role in this project. So give me 51 and you'll take 49 or something like it, or I'll do 70 and you do 30, something like it. And that's how you basically buy a property. But the price got to be right. And so with the price, you got to really do your numbers, and each property is individual. And you can find, mortgage calculators and rental property with all, what the rental income is. There's 100 gazillion calculators out there. I don't need to guys give you one. But good deals are going to be coming. I show you guys my deal that I just got. And I'll take you guys when I'm back in Vegas in a few days, probably in a week from now. So you probably should subscribe and like. And then I will show you guys my deal, what I'm going to do. And let me know if you guys want to see some deals that I did with my business partner. I can have my business partner on if you guys are interested. Let me know. I'm going to wrap this video up. It's kind of nighttime, something different. Just letting you know what's going on. and I will see you guys in the next one. I really appreciate it. Like and subscribe. That would mean a lot to me. Thanks.